Welcome to the 4 Mile
It's not as easy.
It's not as easy as it sounds. Welcome to the 4 Mile Circus, a podcast produced by 4 Mile Circus, which is a full cycle media services company based in Brooklyn, New York, and run by me, Nicole Solomon, and nobody else with the initials SM, who are sitting in a chair across from me.
My initials are SDM, which is like sodomy without any of the vowels.
I was going to say, yeah, whatever, nobody
Just grow up
cares,
with
but
that.
actually I was pretty interested in that. That was a fun fact. Anyway, I'm here to celebrate our 1-year anniversary episode of the 4 Mile Circus. I'm here with filmmaker Christina Raia, who will be joining us for the second of a 2-part epic anniversary interview where she's going to talk about her movie about a donkey and some other stuff. Hi, Christina.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
So we're going to get into it in a moment. Maybe this fellow sitting in the chair, we can include him. We talked about inclusion a lot.
Inclusivity is important.
Yeah, so I'm going to be inclusive of you, whatever you're doing here. And do you have anything you want to talk to Christina about?
I was wondering. I was curious. We talked last time about how, we bitched a lot about, budgets and people and their stupid budgets. But let's talk about, how do you get, did you just dip into your trust fund for the $20,000 to make your film? Or did you, steal a car and sell it? How did you find this $20,000 that you made a film with?
I think she mugged a filmmaker who was spending $20,000 on a 2-minute long micro short that they were shooting on Alexa. That's how I'm gonna fund my next movie. Just stake out.
Just find some NYU kid with an Alexa and stab him.
Kickstarter or whatever. For we're just trying to get some post-production funds because my parents paid for the whole movie, but we want to submit it to festivals, so we think you should pay for that. And I'm gonna find those people and just stake them out, and that's how I'm gonna fund my
Steal
next
their
film.
Alexa and sell it on the black market.
Steal their Alexa, shoot a film with it, then sell it on the black market to fund my next film. Flawless planning.
So that was what you did.
No, we crowdfunded on Seed and Spark.
What is Seed and Spark?
Seed and Spark is it's an independent film funding and streaming platform with a focus on underrepresented voices in front and behind the camera. And so you can crowdfund a film, and then you have the option to come full circle with it and distribute on their streaming platform as well.
So it's just Kickstarter. It's just a Kickstarter project, right? It's like a sub company there, yeah.
It's, I think, unlike Kickstarter, which is a crowdfunding platform exclusively, and it is about, the focus is more for, raising money for a specific project. Seed and Spark is trying to put independence back in the hands of filmmakers and allow them to retain creative control over their work by not only crowdfunding, but building an audience for their body of work as a whole. So you could theoretically take your audience with you from project to project. And so this is my second time crowdfunding on Seed and Spark.
And what was your first time? Was that for Summit?
No, I crowdfunded Summit on Kickstarter in 2012 before Seed and Spark existed. But I crowdfunded 2 shorts in 2014 on Seed and Spark. That was a collaboration with Kelsey Rauber, who I also collaborated with for About a Donkey.
And are those films available?
They are. They're available on ConjustACat.com. You can find them, 2 shorts, along with many other shorts and our web series that we have.
What are the names of those shorts?
Sorry, they're called We Had Plans and Not Our Living Room.
Ah, okay.
Which they're very different from, I would say, our usual work, but they're kind of intimate pieces that were kind of cathartic for Kelsey to write at the time for what she was going through. And we made them to kind of keep our web series fan base. We have a web series called Kelsey that we were coming off the heels of and kind of wanted to keep them engaged and give them new content while we were on the road towards making our feature, but not really ready to dive into that yet. And so that was sort of like what we did in the middle to kind of put out new content and explore new approaches to filmmaking. And then 2 years after that, more than 2 years, because we crowdfunded About a Donkey in February of this year in 2017. And yeah.
And so was crowdfunding your first choice for About a Donkey? Were you like, crowdfunding is the most fun thing I've ever done in my entire life, so I just want to do it again and again and again and again? Was that what happened?
No, it was not my first choice. Anyone who's crowdfunded, as you both know, it's incredibly exhausting, and is so much work. And I wouldn't say, I always have when I'm in crowdfunding, I'm like, why did I do this to myself? But then after it, I'm so happy that I did, because so many people got excited about this project that didn't even exist yet. And so I'm glad that we did it, but it was not the first choice. About a Donkey was written in 2010. Kelsey wrote the first draft. We became friends in 2010, and she showed me the first draft of it, which was very different. I mean, the core of the story was the same, and the characters were mostly the same, but it was a different film, and I loved it, and I kind of said that we should make it one day. This was in 2010. Or maybe it was 2011, but I was on the road to making my first feature, Summit, and then we made our web series, and About a Donkey was always kind of there, but we felt like it was very ambitious. It had a lot of characters. It had a donkey. It required a lot of locations, and
including house for the donkey.
Yes, exactly. And
donkey house.
Yeah.
There's a donkey house.
There's a donkey.
What is this donkey
right
house?
outside your mom's house.
Yes,
there needed to be a functional donkey house.
Yes.
Not like 3, pieces of plywood leaning up against each other, like an actual. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so, like, on a side note, the characters love and care for this donkey, and we on set wanted to take good care of this donkey, so we wanted to make sure that not only would it look good for the camera, but that it would actually, like, protect the donkey from the elements and all that stuff. So, yeah, we needed a real donkey house.
Shout out to Little Brays of Sunshine. Is that the name of the donkey sanctuary?
So it's like Little Brays of Sunshine is what they call their, the mission that they do, like the trips that they do. They visit nursing homes and schools for children that are developmentally disabled, and they are like therapy donkeys, but the actual nonprofit is Donkey Park Inc.
Okay.
And they rescue donkeys. Like, typically they're going to be slaughtered, and so they rescue them, and that's, I can go into that more, but anyway, we originally planned to have an actual budget. And so we talked to a lot of people. I went through kind of years of talking to people who had like $250,000 to make features. And I was like, how did you do this? How did you get this money? Because in my mind, I didn't want to make another short feature where I couldn't pay anyone. And I was like killing myself to get it made and wearing all the hats. But everyone I spoke to, it was like someone just wrote me a check. Basically, that was the story I had heard. Some people were like, I tried the cold calling thing, and it's like that doesn't exist anymore because there's no return on investment. So investors are not a thing that you can just, attain. Like, you can't reach out to them.
They've all gotten smart. They're like, nobody fucking makes money on movies. What are you talking about?
Right. And so you need to hook someone who has some sort of emotional attachment to you or the subject matter. And in order to do that, you need to then know someone who, well enough to know that they would either care about you and want to give you money, or care about the subject matter and have money. And like, I grew up with a single mom. I don't have any extended family that has money. And so I don't know any like lawyers or doctors. There was no one that I could call up and just be like, I need $250,000. There's no one I could call up and just be like, I need $10,000. So, and Kelsey, similarly, like I would say grew up in a more like upper middle class compared to me, but still not rich, nor does she have connections to rich people. And so after years of like, reading all these bullshit articles about how like the investor path is the way that it should be or can still be, I was like, what I know is crowdfunding. What I know is audience building. What I know is telling a story to and for people who want that story and making them feel part of it along the way. So we decided in early 2016 that we were going to do it. I was like, here's the deal, Kelsey. I think that we can make this film. We can pay people enough that, isn't like a living wage, but it would be enough to show appreciation for their time and would make it worth their time. And we can make this film on $20,000 because I believe that I can borrow all of these locations. I believe that I can get a lot of food for free. I believe that with the connections we've made and sort of the favors we've given to certain filmmakers, we can borrow a lot of gear. And so we decided at that time that we were going to crowdfund the film. And then about a year later, we did.
And yeah, go ahead.
I'm interested in the timing of that crowdfunding campaign.
Oh, that was my question as well. So you crowdfunded in February, and then you're going to shoot like now. Is that right? Like you gave yourself a good buffer zone to do pre-production, yeah? No.
We went into production a week after the campaign ended.
So what you're saying is we need to put you on some sort of suicide watch.
Yeah.
Because that's disturbing.
No, I mean, it was a tough decision. I mean, what I tried to do different. So Summit I crowdfunded in 2012 in June, and then shot the film in January of 2013. So I had all of this time to do pre-production. The difference there was I needed to make sure that I had the budget in place before I could really secure certain things, like our location and stuff like that. Whereas with this, the picture house was my mom's house that she lives in with her husband. They rent it. Another house that we used was my cousin's house. We used my own apartment, and outside my building, we had pretty much everything was borrowed. We had one location that we paid for that initially we weren't planning to pay for, but it only cost us $200, and that was like a venue that ended up being for a prom scene. But everything else was completely loaned to us. And so we had spent more time before the campaign pretty much securing pre-production stuff. So we secured our locations, we locked in our shooting dates, we went through the schedules with all the actors, not to say that things didn't change within that window during the campaign, and that I wasn't like free of pre-production work, so I don't necessarily recommend it, but we weren't like simultaneously doing pre-production work and running a campaign. A lot of it had already been done and taken care of. However, yes, there were some things that kind of had to wait until we were much closer or things changed and we had to make adjustments last minute. But the main reason why we did that is because we had the actor secured for March, and we couldn't push things deeper into the spring, even though I wanted to. But there were certain things with actor schedules that kind of made us lock it into March. And then I didn't want to crowdfund around the holidays. And then also like the election happened, which was a whole other thing. And I sort of needed to like recover from that and figure out how my film made sense in the context of this world. But so like the fall was not an option. And then I wanted to be removed enough away from the holidays that people would have money to spend again. So it wasn't like I just blew a bunch of money on the holidays. I can't, give you $10. So February kind of made the most sense under the circumstances. And then we had to go into production in March. So I wouldn't recommend doing that, but in our case, it worked out. And it was very hard to go from like a month of such a stressful experience that is crowdfunding to then a month of production, which is obviously very stressful. But I kind of am happy that it's like that it was so crammed together, because now I have this. I mean, we're already in post and we're already looking at rough cuts and stuff, but I have like more of a break to recover. Whereas with Summit, it was like we crowdfunded, we got the money, but we didn't have enough money. But it was like the stakes were getting bigger and bigger, and things were falling apart months before production, and like it was just I don't know, it was just more stressful in a way, even though we had that break between the campaign and production. And so, I don't know. I would say that, like, you know, if you're planning to crowdfund and you're trying to figure out what makes sense for your production, it's different based on the circumstances, but I really would not recommend trying to crowdfund and either be in pre-production or in production at the same time. So if you can avoid overlapping, definitely do.
I did some of the pre-production for my film Time Signature while crowdfunding for it, because I think we only shot like 2 or 3 weeks after that campaign was over, and people were like, well, "How could you do that? That seems like a lot of work." And I was just like, "I don't know what you're talking about," because you get in that zombie sort of zone where you're just like, "No, I'm just doing the work. The work is just getting done.
Yeah.
That's it. Let's sleep. I'm not drunk. You're drunk."
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't sleep. And so but it was like, once you're used to not sleeping, once you like get in that zone, then that's normal and that's how you function.
Exactly. And you just, stalk the streets at night attacking random strangers. But you don't remember it.
It's like giving birth.
Yeah.
Or what I've heard. From what I've heard, at least.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure nobody's given birth in the room.
No.
Yeah.
I know I haven't.
But what I've heard is, it's often a traumatic experience that's incredibly difficult, and depending on a number of factors can be very upsetting and excruciatingly painful, and you get through it and you're like, oh my God, thank God that's done, never again. But then time goes on and that visceral horror fades.
Yes.
And you remember like, oh, the little baby.
Right, exactly.
And I wanted another little baby. And that's how the human race keeps going. Because if we remembered how bad it really is, people would stop having fucking babies and people would stop crowdfunding. Totally. Like now I'm at the phase where...
production in general, like making movies in general.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of why I don't direct more often than I do, because I'm always like, oh, fuck that. Why the fuck am I doing this?
Yeah, I'm still in the middle of after me kind of like, oh, I kind of like to do that. No, wait, remember the pain. Remember the stress.
I'm at a phase now where crowdfunding doesn't sound like the worst idea in the world to me. And so I know that, but I'm like, I remember that there was a time I felt differently, but I'm just,
It's fine. It's fine. We'll crowdfund for a certain pickling film.
Well, we've got a good plan for that.
That's a great plan.
This is.
We'll talk to Christina about this offline.
Of the podcast, but
so plans, we've got them.
Yeah,
You'll hear about them later. What were we talking about? We're talking about crowdfunding. And
not sleeping. My next question was going to be, when do you sleep? When did you start sleeping again?
I haven't.
Was that
actually did not sleep last night. I'm very tired.
You've made the very wise life decision of like dumping just another thing on top of yourself that requires a lot of planning, haven't you?
A wedding? So
maybe
a topic for our podcast.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, so that was like...
as it's happening soon after this comes out.
Well, that was... yeah. So we were going to do the wedding thing to give into our mother's request for it. And then we just were like, after I rapped for about a donkey, I was like, I can't plan something. Because I kept telling my mom, I'll plan it after. Like, give me this time, and then I'll, like, deal with this.
Nobody wants you to plan your own wedding. Everybody wants to plan your wedding for you. Just let them do it, Christina.
But it was turning into, like, we had all these friends we wanted to invite, but then all this extended family, and it's like, I don't think my, friends want to be hanging out with like these random family members that I don't even talk to, and then you don't even get to, like, you're just making rounds because you don't get to spend time with anyone. So we decided to
that's weddings.
Yeah. And I didn't want it, and neither did
bad.
Justin. So we're not, like, we're doing the courthouse thing, and we're doing separate parties now. So we're doing like friend party, and then like a family party with my family, and then going up to Utica and doing a family party with his, which still requires some planning, but it's like, I'm not involved in it. I've let them like take ownership. We're taking ownership of the friend one.
So everybody can have their own version of your wedding.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Brilliant.
Yeah.
That does sound good.
And so we're like, whatever my mom's doing, I'm like, do it, go for it, whatever you want. And then like his mom is doing the Utica thing, and she's like sending me emails, and like if it had been my, because like when we were talking about doing my wedding, which is so not relevant to film at all, but it felt like pre-production to some
It's the
degree.
same
It's
thing.
the same
Yeah.
thing.
But I was like, I want it to be vegan, and they were like, but what about the meat eaters? And I was like, well, it's my wedding, like.
I just got so angry. I just got so angry on your behalf.
Yeah, and I was like, you can't like tell me it's like my day and then tell me I can't do what I want,
No. It's never your day.
right? And so
The only way you can make it your day is doing something like you did, where you kind of just like, you guys do whatever you want. I'm going to do my thing.
yeah.
Everybody can have what they want.
Right, and so that's exactly why I was like, look, if you have such strong opinions about who we need to please, these like random people, then take it away and like do your thing, and I don't care.
And I'll
really.
just show up.
Right, and so
Yeah.
that's really, it's actually quite nice because like we're gonna take the weekend after, we're going to visit his family in Utica, and so it's like a nice trip upstate, and my mom's gonna come, and she's never been up there, so that's nice, and then, you know. Well, it's nice because we'll get to celebrate like us, you know, promising. We've already made these promises to each other, so it's really just like making it legal. But
Yeah, it's tax breaks. It's good tax shit. Everything else, whatever. You can just do that, like write a piece of paper. But the tax stuff, that's helpful.
I guess it is.
No, it's totally helpful.
All right.
Sean's here like, no, let me tell you.
No, it's actually, well, because your significant other makes more money than you.
Yeah.
Now, if you marry file jointly, you as a couple, you owe less taxes filing that way versus how you end up paying them as separate individuals. You will sort of pay more taxes, but he will pay less taxes,
Yeah,
and the
that's what I was
overall taxes will be
wondering,
less.
Okay.
That's how it works. Because my wife makes a lot more money than I do, and technically all of our taxes are what she owes, but it's less than if she was on her own.
Okay.
And we were doing it separately. Of course, I would pay no taxes at all if I was on my own because I make that little money. But
Right. Well, yeah,
I'm a
like
kept
being on the
man.
1099 system is shitty for taxes. So that's what I was wondering, I guess, is like how it would balance out, but whatever, figure it out. It's not really
I have so
relevant.
much to say about this, but it's going to take us so far afield.
all right, let's talk
in
taxes.
the
This is now the 4-mile tax show.
4 mile. I thought you were going to say the 4 mile tax shelter.
I have a 4-mile tax shelter. It's in the Bahamas.
That's funny in so many different ways.
But so weddings and babies all like film,
Yes.
all like
exactly.
crowdfunding.
Expensive,
Expensive,
collaborative.
collaborative, not entirely worth it.
But it is definitely a stressful thing to some degree. So yeah, I'm not like on a break at the moment. And then like IndieWorks is definitely ongoing as well. So I'm not really in break mode, but I'm not in production, which is different. Because usually I'm like in pre-production for something new at the same time as being in post for something else. And I guess unless you were to count being in pre-production for getting married, but I don't think it's quite the
Pre-production.
same.
That's exclusively how you should refer to it with all of your family from now on. So we're in pre-production on the wedding.
It's the same shit, though. It is like having.
Need locations.
Yeah, you need locations. You need
People.
costumes.
Right.
You need crafty.
Food, art direction for the set dressing.
Yeah, I kind of
Yes.
art directed my sister's wedding.
There you go.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
the set
would
decorator,
actually
certainly.
be-
Just in
Great.
case you need one.
Yes.
I'm sure she'd love to do it.
Well, that's sort of the stressful thing too, which is why I'm glad I'm not dealing with it, because I have like my mom's Indian on my mom's side, and so I was already kind of getting like some opinions about my lack of like a Hindu wedding, even though like I'm not practicing Hindu, and like there's no reason why I would, even though yes, like it's my culture, like I'm not gonna have like a 5-hour wedding and like make all these weird like sexist promises that I don't agree with, because a lot of like, though beautiful, a lot of a Hindu wedding involves like some like possessiveness, as does like
As do a lot
yeah
of-
like a
yeah.
regular like
Pretty
a
much every
American wedding,
religious
yeah.
wedding.
And I was just like, I'm not like, that's not me, and so it was a lot of like conversation sort of like, oh, are you gonna do like the mehendi on your hands? And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like then I'm like picking and choosing like cultural
Go half and half.
requirements.
Because his family's like Catholic, right?
No, they're not. I mean, they're not practicing.
Well,
They're
not practicing, but
Italian.
you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
so like big puffy white dress on one side, cut it down the middle, whatever the
Red
sari
sari.
on the on the other side. You know what are you talking about? The henna.
Henna, yeah.
The henna on one hand, nothing on the other one.
Yeah.
Dye half of your hair blonde.
So yeah, I was just like not, because I think it's beautiful, but I also kind of think like, I mean, this is a whole other conversation, but being like sort of multi-ethnic in a way, I feel like often I'm almost like appropriating my own culture, because it's not like to dress in a certain way, but to not like believe in the beliefs that go along with like whatever that ritual is. Like the reason why you wear a red sari is like about virginal blood and like all of these things, despite what like is said. And so I don't know, I just felt it's like, it's not me, this isn't about me. And so it was very nice. It's very nice to just be free of that, honestly, and to just be like, all right, well, I don't need to try and figure out how to blend all of these things that are parts of my identity but not me as a whole. And so now I'm just kind of like, as I said, letting it be that side and really just doing my own thing. And so yeah,
just like you do with film.
Yeah, totally. That's totally what she does with film.
Yeah, she does her own thing.
Sure.
So I was serious. I was bringing it back together.
Great. Good job.
So you're just very busy. IndieWorks, fifth year, starting the day after this episode comes out. And what, or is there anything exciting about the fifth year? Are you doing anything new? Different?
We thought about it, but no, we might do something different for the Best of Fest, like the fifth year Best of Fest. I'm not really sure. I was thinking, it would be cool maybe to do something with past winners, like of the past 4 years, like bringing those films back in some way, but we haven't really discussed it, and that's a year away because our Best of Fest, our season runs from June through April, so June starts, the monthly screenings, and then next April would be our Best of Fest of the fifth year. But nothing's really new. We've found that our audience turnout has been pretty big, even though, for the past year we've been in Long Island City, and we expected a cut in the amount of people that show up. But when we were in the Lower East Side, we had like 50 to 60 people every month, and that was for 6, sometimes 8 shorts. And for the past year, we've been doing 5, sometimes even 4 shorts, and still end up with about 50 people in the room. Like, it's usually like 45 to 50. And that's been nice for conversations and like keeping the night shorter and more conversation oriented. So moving forward, we might end up doing like 4 films every month. Not less than 4, but not more than 5. So
I think it's good. I mean, you guys are getting enough submissions where you can be picky, right?
Yeah, we are. I mean, that's part of it too, is like, we are getting a lot of submissions, but not always the strongest submissions. and so we're able to build.
But you're also getting some very good ones. There were some very good ones. I was at Best of Fest.
Oh yes, we're getting excellent films.
And there's some good ones.
We are, but it's just yeah, absolutely. But it's just
to make sure that people understand that you're not just showing shitty films.
No, we are.
Because I complain about them plenty.
No, I'm proud of what we screen, but I think the point is that a lot of local screenings, it's like you're trying to fill a lineup or a certain amount of time, so you're screening 8 films. You got 10 submissions or 12 submissions or 20 submissions or whatever, but you need to select 8. So you're going to select 8 regardless of whether or not, only 6 of them are worth screening. And so for us, it's like, well, what is worth screening based on what we prioritize, which is always kind of story, but we also have a focus on inclusion and like whether or not it's a fresh perspective, or there's a lot of conversations we have about the selection process. But the point is that we are not married to a specific like running time or amount of films every month. So we're allowed to be selective, which
So
is...
you could have a shorter night or a longer night, but that's not to say that you're like screening 40-minute long shorts.
No, yeah. I mean, we cut them off at 20. We will allow you to go over 20 if it's just your credits, but often then we ask you to cut down your credits. But 20 is the cap because, I don't know, I feel like I've learned just from being at festivals and then running IndieWorks for almost 5 years now that it's hard, it's harder to get people to sit through a longer short, specifically, especially when you're showing them back to back. It's one thing if it's like a singular screening, and then maybe it's a more enjoyable experience because you're just taking in this one piece of content. But shorter tends to be stronger when it comes to shorts. And so we just very strictly stick to 20. That way we can also fit in, we can kind of play, because sometimes it's like you screen a 30-minute short and then you screen like a 3-minute short and it just feels very...
The 3 minutes get lost.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, I remember that 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That took forever.
Right.
And then the 3 minutes, they did a thing, right? There was a bicycle and a puppy. There's a puppy riding a bicycle.
I want to watch that movie.
I kind of want to watch that too. Let's make that movie. Do you have another question?
I thought you were gonna ask if I had a puppy, and I was gonna say yes. I know. I mean, I don't have one, but I know a few. I'm feeling a little like, gamey, because that's what that adjective means.
I was going to suggest if you did not have another question that we could play a game. This game appropriate to this conversation because you work for Seed and Spark, the crowdfunding platform, and your boss at Seed and Spark is named Emily Best. And so we're going to do Best of the Best trivia, Best of the Best being the 1989 Taekwondo movie starring Eric Roberts, James Earl Jones, Chris Penn, and Philip Rhee.
That's the year I was born.
That's totally why he picked it.
That's another way that it's totally relevant. So Best of the Best trivia. I actually ran these questions by my friend Sam, who is a big fan of Best of the Best. It got him through his childhood in a lot of ways. He studied Taekwondo, and he would watch that. He was a very tall child.
I've heard a lot about this movie, weirdly. There's a lot of people who I think this movie was important to. I've never seen it.
It's not a good movie, but it is like it has a weirdly good cast.
But it's a better movie than its sequels.
Yes.
That's from what I've heard.
But don't tell Philip Rhee that. That's his career. Okay. You're making fun of his career. That
I'm
poor
a bad
man.
person.
You're a horrible person. All right, so question one are you guys ready for Best of the Best trivia?
Are we ever?
Yeah.
Is there such a thing as really being ready, though?
For the Best of the Best? No.
Yeah, no.
So question number one. The American team at the center of the film, coached by James Earl Jones, is competing against a team from what country in the international tournament? Is it A, Russia, B, China, C, France, or D, South Korea? So the film centers around the international tournament.
Isn't it always Russia?
Yeah, I was going to say Russia because 80s.
And the correct answer is South Korea.
Oh.
South Korea. But it's just good. That's why I put that one in there to throw you.
Interesting. South Korea.
So question number two. Because it is a martial arts film, Philip Rhee's character, Tommy Lee, is seeking revenge against a member of the South Korean team for what reason? A, stealing his high school prom date. B, the death of his brother during a previous tournament. C, a frat house hazing gone wrong. Or D, selling his mother a house that fell apart and killed her precious dog, Chef Boris.
B.
B, the death of his brother during a previous tournament.
That seems like the most logical answer.
Are you saying that selling his mother a house that fell apart and killed her precious dog, Chef Boris?
Where did Chef Boris come from? What the fuck is that? Like, who's Boris? What am I missing?
Me writing the questions at 1 a.m?
Is it like, not Chef Boyardee? Is that how you got there?
Does the movie,
No.
It's just like, is all about his revenge? Is
No.
that... Oh, it's just an element.
That's an element of the movie. The movie is also partly about how Eric Roberts is a good single dad to his 5-year-old son.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
B.
Yeah,
B?
Hard on B.
The death of his brother during a previous tournament. That is correct. That's always the answer. That's always the death of a brother.
Yeah. Could have been death of the father.
That is also the plot of Kickboxer. So except for it's more focused on the revenge. And that one has more like death in it. This one's just more of like a regular tournament, not an underground tournament. So number 3, how many sequels are there to Best of the Best? A, why would they make sequels? B, 3. C, 2. And D, technically Best of the Best is part of the Land Before Time series, so 14. There are 14 Land Before Time movies. Did you know there are 14 Land Before Time movies? I'm not joking.
Oh my God.
The 3.
3.
Which is what, 2? Oh, you mean, sorry. 3.
The number 3.
The number 3. There were 3 sequels.
A,
I think
B,
that
C.
was B or C. I don't remember.
It was B.
It was B, yeah.
Do you know that answer?
I can't.
You guys are
This
kind of
game-
competing against each other.
Yeah,
It's
well,
just
I'm
I'm going to
not.
say there are 2.
You're going to say there are 2. There are 3 Best of the Best sequels.
Oh, now who's the best of the best?
And I'm fairly certain Eric Roberts and Chris Penn only appear in the second one. Best of the Best 2, which also has Wayne Newton.
Is it just 3, like 3 and 4? Are they just called that?
No, they have. Here, let's look up the titles for the Best of the Best movies, because these are 90s direct to video sequels. So they have great titles. So there's Best of the Best. There's Best of the Best 2. And that's just called Best of the Best 2.
Functional.
Then there's Best of the Best 3, No Turning Back. And Best of the Best 4, Without Warning. And Philip Ree is the star of he's the star and also the producer of all of them, but he's the main star of 3 and 4.
I would have done better in Land Before Time.
Trivia?
Trivia.
Land Before Time trivia?
But
There
I
are
learned
14
today that there are 14 Land Before Time movies. I didn't know.
There's also a TV
I've
series.
seen the first 2.
I did know that there were like more than you think. I knew that.
It's a
I thought there
ridiculous
were
number.
3. That's what I thought.
I knew
That's
there-
one every 2 years.
I would have guessed like 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's just like some ridiculous number.
Some with like ones I did
No.
not know about.
Not
but-
an insane number that makes no sense. Like Land Before Time, delightful, wonderful,
Okay.
charming movie. But 14 Land Before Time movies, that's mind numbing.
It didn't take that long for the dinosaurs to go
I don't
extinct.
understand, like, who's watching them?
Children.
But
New generations of children.
is it so it's just the same movie over and over? I would assume.
I don't know.
I mean,
I never
what
saw
would
any
you
of the
do with
sequels.
it?
I
'cause-
only saw the first one. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's
I had
any
the-
connection to the original story.
Yeah.
Apparently none of us do, so we're just going
No.
to sit around and speculate
Yes.
about
I had
what
the-
is in these sequels.
I had the the little Triceratops. I had the hand puppet that you
yeah,
got
me
from
too.
Pizza Hut during their promotions back then. Back when
Little
Pizza
Hut.
Hut would like give you all sorts of shit.
I had Back to the Future 2 sunglasses from Pizza Hut.
Ah, that's cool. I had X-Men animated series VHS tapes from Pizza Hut because they did that as a promotion in the 90s. They were just like, oh, you got a pizza. Here's a VHS tape for a cartoon that you can just watch.
What year did they do that?
That's a pretty
That
quality.
was that would be like 93, 94 or something like that. They were doing that. I think they did that for some other
That's
shows
serious.
I got a Hanson t-shirt from Eggo Waffles.
too. You shouldn't tell anybody about that.
I will happily brag about that. They are a fine band. I also enjoy Tinted Windows, which was a super group that Taylor Hanson sang in with Adam Schlesinger and like someone from the Kinks.
Yes. Which one was that?
Which one?
Which Hanson brother is that?
the like main one.
Oh, okay.
The-
main one.
Wait, what, the older one?
The-
No,
drummer?
He was the middle one. No, not the drummer. The drummer was
the
Zach.
middle one sings, right?
The keyboardist.
Yeah.
They all
Okay.
sang.
But he was like, I feel like
He was the main singer.
voice.
Was Taylor Hanson. He played keys and he sang and he has a really fucking good voice. And when I saw Tinted Windows play and I like heard him sing live, like it's not studio trickery. He's a very talented young man and I am very proud to have a Hanson t-shirt. I like
Okay.
Hanson. I like their Christmas album also.
They have a Christmas album.
I didn't know they
I
had
thought they only
Snowed
had
in.
the one song.
Is it
Snowed in.
from the 90s? Because aren't they back together or something?
Yeah, I think they play shows and stuff now, but the album is from the 90s. It came out after
Cool.
the Mbop one, which is Middle of Nowhere. Oh my God, how could I forget that for a second? And then Three Car Garage came out, which was a re-release of their independent albums,
Oh, wow.
which I
Oh.
also have.
Didn't know that.
We could
You
do
were
a
you were
Hanson hour.
you were a fan before it was cool.
Yeah, I thought
And after it was cool.
I enjoyed their songs.
And during when it definitely wasn't cool.
I went through the whole full cycle, as it were.
My
Hanson.
friend and collaborator, Ryan Kramer, we lived together in 2011 for like a year and a half. And
Also a star of Summit.
yes.
Yes.
He is also a writer-director, pursuing his own films as well. But when we lived together, we had another roommate, Andrew, the three of us. And for the first week we moved into the apartment, Ryan would play Mbop like every day, all day, because
Okay, I didn't do that.
because he discovered Andrew like despised this song, and so
Ryan's more of a dick than I gave him credit for. Props.
well, it was like it was just sort of Andrew. Like the moment he woke up, the song would start and play, just like through the day until he left for work or school, and it would drive me crazy. But I enjoyed it because it was just their rooms were next to each other too. I was sort of like separate, so I didn't always hear it, but that was fun. That just reminded me of that.
It's a good use of the song.
So I have one more question, one bonus trivia question.
Okay.
Since it's our anniversary episode, I posted on the Twitter a question for people to vote on the answer for. Mm-hmm. And that question was, don't go looking it up. Don't go looking it up.
I was looking up who was in tinted windows, and
That's
James
okay.
Yeehaw is the
I'm
one
just
I was
saying, don't go looking it up because now the answer is available online. So the
Oh, no, somebody from Cheap Trick, not the Kinks. Sorry.
oh, I'm sorry. You're terrible.
Oh, that was a
So
bad mistake.
the voted on question, they voted on the answers, excuse me, is why did Uncle Sean, that's me on Twitter, I am Uncle Sean, cry himself to sleep last night?
Uh-oh.
This is our special anniversary question in which our Twitter followers, 4 of them, voted on the answer, and you can take a guess. Answer A is, have you seen the world? Answer B is, kittens get old and die. Answer C is, who can sleep? And answer D is, same as every night. So that's, why did Uncle Sean on Twitter, cry himself to sleep last night?
And the answer you revealed the answer.
You are looking to guess the answer that was voted on.
Oh, not the
This
truth.
is a democratic answer.
The truth is democracy,
I was
Christina.
about to say, you don't think
Democracy is the truth.
Oh, that's how it is in here. Okay.
Facts.
Maybe Sean
whatever.
should just be a dictator of his own experience.
Facts are these are alternative answers.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so
I'm going with D, same reason as every
Yeah.
night.
you're
Same.
both of you going with D, same reason as every day. So it depends on you how you interpret the results
Oh,
of the
for
Twitter,
fuck's sake.
because the results were 50-50,
Oh.
same as every night, and kittens get old and die. But Twitter put the check mark next to kittens get old and die. So
That is false.
Wait, is that
yeah, kittens do get old and die.
Yeah, but I mean, it is
And
a
that's
false,
sad.
It is a false, like most popular answer. Twitter's just biasing it because it said
Did
kittens.
you vote?
That's good. Yes.
Maybe it's not factoring in your vote.
Well, no, I voted for my personal account
Oh.
because this is on the 4 Mile Circus
Which one
account.
did you vote for?
I don't remember.
Oh.
I think it was kittens.
I thought that kittens was the one that definitely was not going to be it.
Oh wait, no,
Yeah.
wait. The check mark might be that's what mine was. That makes sense. Yep.
You
Never
voted
mind.
for kittens?
The check, the check
Tie.
mark was So
Then
that
I think
never
we
mind.
won.
We
You won.
won.
We
You
won.
won because you guessed one of the 2 answers that's correct. Because democracy decided that both answers are correct.
It was, I mean, could be that the kittens is the same as every night.
I know. I thought that too. I was like, well, that could.
It all fits together in a like magical shitstorm of tears.
It's like the Saw series. However, it all fits together like a jigsaw. Like the.
Oh, because his name is Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Is that also why it's called Saw? Because
Yeah.
it's Jigsaw.
It's a pun.
Does he use like a one of those tools for making jigsaw
Didn't you
puzzles?
watch the first Saw movie at least? Didn't you see the first
I saw the first one.
He
and
hacks
the
off his foot with a saw.
I saw the first one, the second one, and then the fourth one.
The fourth one is the like.
It was
wrong
bad.
one. Yeah, the fourth.
It
one's
was
really
so bad, and
fourth
and
one-
people were like, "Well, the third one was really bad. This one was slightly better.
No.
I'm like, well, I'm definitely not going back and watching
That's
that
a
or
lie.
watching any of the others.
That's a lie. The third one is better than the fourth one.
Even with Donnie Wahlberg, it was terrible.
The fourth one has that like pretty cool autopsy scene right at the top, and you're like, oh, those are good autopsy effects, and then there's nothing.
I saw it in the theater when it came out and I haven't seen it since.
I've only seen the first two.
I liked the second one the way it like scaled up.
The second one's probably my favorite of them. Honestly.
Like it's like the house one, and there's like the different rooms.
Yeah. And all the
And
people.
and all the people. And it was solid.
The needle scene disturbs me so much. That's like, I don't know. I guess
I haven't watched any of them since I first saw
when she
them.
jumps into the pit of needles.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, I think they are bad films. You know,
Yeah.
I harbor a secret fantasy to reboot the Saw series and make it good.
Ooh, let's talk about that.
Because the Saw series is terrible and moralizing and like, you know, drug addicts deserve to die
Right.
and have like all sorts of awful. It's
Yeah.
awful.
It's the same kind of moralizing as those coffee shops that put up the sign that says, we don't have Wi-Fi. Just like look at each other and talk to each other and like
No.
get off your phone. It's the exact same
I'll
sort of
leave your
moralizing as
stupid
that.
fucking
Yeah.
coffee shop
Exactly.
then. I come to your coffee shop.
Those coffee shops are Saw. They're run by Jigsaw. That's what they are.
Wait,
What's your
can we do
favorite?
a
Can I
short
ask
that's-
Can I start a game, I guess?
Yeah,
Sure.
go ahead.
We like games here. It's kind of our
We do
favorite
like
thing.
games. What do I win?
What do you win? I don't have anything on me to give you.
I'm sure you have like a scrap of paper or perhaps some lint.
Oh, I have here. An IndieWorks pen.
Sweet.
Oh wait, that's a good prize. I'm ready to compete now.
Those are good pens.
Well,
I want an IndieWorks pen. I need pens.
I guess it wasn't so much a game as like a conversation. So now I
Well,
need
now
to
it's a
figure out-
game.
A game. I was just gonna talk about horror movies and
Great.
and favorites, recent favorites.
Recent favorites.
We can make it a game though.
What horror movies did I watch
I
recently?
mean, like this year had a few horror movies that I
Oh,
really,
yeah,
really
yeah,
liked.
yeah.
There was obviously Get Out, which
Yes.
we all
Oh yeah, I
Super
remember.
adore.
That's like
I-
everyone's.
that's like my favorite kind of movie. That's kind of my favorite kind of horror movie.
Me too.
Is Get Out. Also, The Lure, which some of us have seen.
Oh, yeah, The Lure. Yeah.
And is very good. I haven't seen Raw,
Me neither.
which I'm very amped to see that. But yeah, I think those are some horror movies that I've seen recently. I'm trying to think if what I've watched on like at home. Not so much recently.
The Lure was a very good, horror movie. Like Get Out is an excellent horror movie. It's an excellent movie all around, but it's definitely much more like targeted at something. And
You don't think The Lure is?
I mean, I think The Lure is a little bit more broad, and I think The Lure is a little bit more straight horror.
I mean, it's a musical. You're saying this about the
No.
Cannibal Mermaid musical, that it's more straightforward horror? I think they're both
Yeah, you're right. Probably
they're both
But-
pretty. I mean, usually
Yeah.
horror movies aren't musicals.
True.
But we were writing one.
Oh yes, we are.
We are writing one. We're in the middle of it.
And it's a holiday themed one, so
Yeah, we have a lot of projects in the crock pot.
I want to do a horror anthology.
Oh yeah.
talk to us about that. I'm interested in that.
We
Well-
should. Okay, we should. I don't know. Go ahead.
Well, just Ryan and I were talking. We have our weekly writing group, which is actually tonight. Ryan, Kelsey, and I. And so we've been challenging each other to write things every week, and so horror has been coming up a lot, I guess, because the world is shit. And so it's
Yes.
like cathartic to do that.
Yes, it is. It's a helpful way of talking about how the world is shit without
Yes.
doing like a super topical thing nobody would want to see and will be completely outdated by the time it's done.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Looking at you, Green Day. I just hate
Jesus,
Green
Sean.
Day.
I know this comes up far too frequently.
I just hate Green Day a lot. Like irrationally so.
Anyway,
But we were saying that it would be cool to do a horror anthology, and then Ryan brought up U2.
hey, I like the way
what-
Ryan
Congested
thinks.
Cat, 4 Mile Circus.
Do you guys have access to Bono? Stupid joke. Continue.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about this if
Yeah,
you
let's
want.
talk about this. This is exclusive for our listeners. This is the first we're hearing about this.
I mean, we could also talk about it offline because we
That's
have
what
other
I'm saying.
things to talk about.
I know.
too.
I'm just
Oh, yeah,
tagging
what do you
it
wanna
so
talk
that everybody
about?
knows they're getting an exclusive.
Well, yeah, I
If
think
we-
that's something maybe to collaborate on down the line. Because
Okay.
it's nice, like, I've been wanting to, I'm a crazy person, and so, like, once I
No.
wrap something, I wrap something, and then I'm like, I have a moment of relief, and then I'm itching to shoot something else. And it's, like, probably like a bad thing, but also a good thing, I think. And so I've been wanting to shoot something else, but it's like, I feel like there needs to be a bigger, it's always nice to be part of something bigger. And it's like hard to get an audience behind just a single short,
Yeah.
I like making shorts, and it's a nice way to stay active and put out stuff in between bigger projects. But it would be cool to maybe collaborate, and then it's sort of like rotating roles. So you're like, everyone's
Yeah.
kind of helping out on each other's sort
Yeah.
of thing.
And there could maybe be some sort of theme,
Theme,
however
yeah.
loose. Let's talk about this more. I like this idea.
Like a theme like horror
Or Hanson.
or Green Day.
Well, it's like tonight. So for our writing group tonight, for instance, we do like on the spot pitches. So we'll challenge each other to. It'll be like, okay, there'll be a book on the table, and it's like we all have to pitch something that has that title, and then we like pull out of the hat. It'll be like, if it's a TV series, okay, like what network do you get? So I got FX, and they got like ABC and whatever, and then you pull out of the hat a genre. So it's like mine needs to be a comedy on FX with this title or whatever it may be. That's how we do challenges, and then we do pitches, and it's a lot of fun. But our challenge for last week was to write a 3 to 5 page scene that takes place in an alley and has 3 characters. And so tonight we're all going to read what we wrote. And so that's like fun because we put very conditioned circumstances on what you have to write, and like that results in kind of fun. It pushes you to get creative in like a very strategic way. That's fun.
I like that. That's good. I will also be going to my writing group tonight, but we do not do such structured assignments. People turn in stuff and we read it. And it is not just screenwriting,
Yeah.
although people do screenwriting for it sometimes, such as me.
I have a writing group too.
you
Yeah,
and
we get
Emma.
together. We get together a lot.
You and Emma and your TV?
So, writing groups, horror films.
Those are
Trivia.
things.
I hate Green Day. Nicole loves Hanson. Christina has not actually stated an opinion on either of those. But let's wrap it up. Where can people find you online?
You can find me on social media at CRAIA9. My website is ChristinaRaia.com, and my production company is CongestedCat.com, which has all the information on my projects and IndieWorks.
Nicole, what are we?
We are 4 Mile Circus. You can find us at 4milecircus.com, as well as on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at 4 Mile Circus, all one word, number 4, followed by the words Mile Circus with no spaces or dashes or underscores or anything like that.
None of that bullshit.
None of that bullshit.
Just one word. And that word is goodbye. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, or your platform of choice. Please visit us at 4milecircus.com to learn about our other projects and services, and be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at 4 Mile Circus.